You know what's funny? Most of us are taught to avoid failure at all costs. From the time we're kids, failure feels like something to be ashamed of. A bad grade, a lost game, a missed opportunity. It all feels heavy, like proof we're not good enough. But here's the thing, the most successful people in the world don't run from failure. They run towards it. And no one embodies this mindset more than Elon Musk. Think about it. This is a guy who was told SpaceX would never work, that Tesla would bankrupt him, that his ideas were way too unrealistic. And yet today, he's one of the most talked about innovators on the planet. Why? Because he lives by one principle: fail fast, learn faster. And in this video, I want to unpack exactly what that means for you. Not just in business, but in your career, your goals, your everyday life. We're going to look at how embracing failure can actually move you forward faster than playing it safe ever could. By the end of this, you'll not only see failure differently, you'll start to use it as a tool for growth. So let's dive in. Here's the first big idea. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the pathway to it. Elon Musk has never shied away from failure. In fact, he almost invites it. Back in 2008, SpaceX had already failed 3 rocket launches in a row, and with each failure, critics laughed louder. People said he was throwing money into the sky, that he was delusional, reckless. But what most people didn't see was that every failure gave him new data, new insights, new lessons that no classroom, no textbook, and no safe, easy success could ever teach. And here's what I want you to take away. Musk didn't fail and stop. He failed and then asked better questions. Why didn't the rocket make it to orbit? What broke? How can we fix it? That's what fail fast, learn faster really means. It's not about enjoying failure. It's about mining it for information, then using that information immediately to improve. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds great if you're building rockets, but I'm not Elon Musk. How does this apply to me? Here's the answer. Every single time you fail, whether it's a job interview gone wrong, a business idea that flops, or even a relationship that doesn't work out, you've been handed a free education. The only question is, are you paying attention? The second big idea, the faster you fail, the faster you grow. Let me explain. Most of us waste so much time trying to get everything perfect before we start. We tinker, we polish, we second guess. But what does Musk do? He launches, literally and figuratively. He pushes things out into the world knowing they might break, knowing people might criticize, knowing he might lose money. But in doing so, he speeds up the learning curve. When Tesla first started, their early cars were riddled with issues. Batteries overheated, production slowed, deliveries were late. For a while, it looked like everything was falling apart. But instead of waiting until things were perfect to launch, Musk released imperfect products, then used customer feedback to improve them. Fast forward to today, and Tesla is not just a car company. It's an industry leader that forced the entire automotive world to start taking electric cars seriously. So here's the challenge for you. Stop waiting for perfect. Put that idea out there. Apply for the job you're not 100% ready for. Start the side hustle, even if your website isn't flawless. Because the truth is, the real growth happens not before you fail, but after. And that brings us to the third idea for today. Failure builds resilience, and resilience builds confidence. Every time Musk failed, he could have quit. After the 3rd rocket failure, he could have said, you know what, this is too expensive, too embarrassing, too risky. But instead, he doubled down. He poured the last of his money into one more launch. And when that rocket finally reached orbit, it didn't just save SpaceX. It proved to the world and to himself that he could take a punch and keep moving. And that's something failure gives you that success never can: resilience. Every time you fail and get back up, you teach yourself that you're stronger than you thought, that you can handle rejection, criticism, even humiliation, and still keep going. And with each comeback, your confidence grows. So if you failed recently, or if you're terrified of failing, remember this: every setback is a test of your resilience. And resilience is the secret sauce that builds unshakable confidence. Now, we've covered the first 3 lessons from Musk's fail fast, learn faster mindset. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the pathway. The faster you fail, the faster you grow. And failure builds resilience, which builds confidence. But we're just getting started. Because in the next part, we're going to dig into how Musk takes this mindset even further, how he turns criticism into fuel, how he embraces risk when everyone else runs from it, and how you can do the same in your own life. So let's keep going. So now that we've talked about how failure can actually fuel success, how it teaches, accelerates growth, and builds resilience, let's go even deeper. Because Elon Musk doesn't just fail and move on. He has this almost fearless ability to take criticism, take risks, and use them to push further than anyone else would dare. And that's where the real magic of fail fast, learn faster shows up. Let's start here. Criticism is not your enemy. In fact, it can be your greatest teacher. Musk once said, "Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster." And if you think about it, criticism is just a signal of change. It's feedback that tells you where people see gaps, flaws, or opportunities in what you're doing. Most of us take criticism as a personal attack. We hear, "This isn't good," and our brain translates it into "I'm not good." But Musk, he treats it like free data. When Tesla first launched its early roadster, car reviewers tore it apart. They mocked the price, the limited range, even the build quality. Imagine spending years building something only for people to laugh at it. Most of us would crawl back into our shell. But Musk used every review, every negative headline, as fuel to make the next version better. Today, Tesla's cars win awards for safety, performance, and design. Without that criticism, they might have stayed stuck in good enough. So here's what you can do. The next time someone criticizes your work, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is there something true here I can use to improve? Even if the feedback stings, even if it's delivered harshly, look for the nugget of truth. That nugget could be the very thing that helps you level up faster than someone who only hears praise. The next lesson, risk isn't something to fear, it's the price of innovation. One thing Musk does better than almost anyone is taking risks that look insane to the outside world. Think about it. When he sold PayPal, he could have retired comfortably at 30. Instead, he poured nearly all of his money into two industries that were basically graveyards of failed companies, rockets and electric cars. Most people thought he'd lost his mind. But Musk understands something simple. If you only take safe bets, you'll only get average results. Risk is where the breakthroughs live. And yes, risk means you might fail spectacularly. But it also means you might succeed in ways nobody thought possible. Now, I'm not saying you should gamble your life savings tomorrow. Risk doesn't have to mean reckless. But it does mean stepping out of the comfortable and into the uncertain. Maybe that's starting a business while still working a day job. Maybe it's pitching an idea that scares you because you don't know if people will say yes. Maybe it's learning a skill that feels way out of your depth. The point is, risk is where growth happens. And here's a reframe for you. Risk doesn't mean danger. It means opportunity in disguise. Third big idea in this section. You don't fail faster by working alone. You fail faster by surrounding yourself with the right people. Musk is often portrayed as this lone genius, but the truth is, none of his companies exist because of him alone. At SpaceX, he hires some of the brightest engineers in the world. At Tesla, he built a team willing to work long hours chasing an impossible vision. And here's what's powerful. Musk creates an environment where failure is not only allowed, it's expected. He tells his teams, if things are not failing, you're not innovating enough. Think about how liberating that is. Most workplaces punish mistakes. They create this culture of fear where people would rather stay safe than try something bold. But Musk flips that script. He knows that innovation can't survive in fear. So he builds teams where people feel safe to fail, then learn, then improve. And here's the takeaway for you. Who you surround yourself with matters. If you're trying to grow but everyone around you is terrified of failure, you'll find yourself shrinking to fit in. But if you're around people who encourage risk, who celebrate lessons learned even when things flop, you'll grow 10 times faster. So ask yourself, who's in your circle? Are they people who push you forward or people who keep you small? Let's recap what we've just explored. Criticism isn't your enemy, it's feedback that can sharpen you. Risk isn't something to fear, it's the playground of innovation. And surrounding yourself with the right people creates a culture where failing fast becomes a superpower. And now, here's where it all comes together. Because it's one thing to understand failure, risk, and resilience in theory, it's another to actually live it every day. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in the final part of this video. How do you take Musk's mindset and apply it to your own life in a way that feels practical, not overwhelming? How do you actually build a lifestyle where failure becomes fuel? That's where we're headed next. So here we are. We've looked at how failure isn't your enemy, how risk is actually your ally, and how surrounding yourself with the right people can speed up your growth. But now comes the most important part. How do you actually live this out? How do you take Elon Musk's fail fast, learn faster mindset and weave it into your everyday life? So it doesn't just sound inspiring in theory, but becomes something that changes the way you act starting today? Let's start with this. Reframe your relationship with failure. You see, most of us carry failure like a heavy label. I failed, so that must mean I'm not cut out for this. But what if you flip the meaning? What if failure wasn't a verdict, but a step? That's exactly how Musk treats it. When a rocket explodes, he doesn't see it as proof that he can't build rockets. He sees it as a data point on the road to building a rocket that will succeed. So here's a mindset shift you can practice. Instead of asking, did I succeed or fail? Ask, what did I learn? Because the truth is, the only real failure is not learning. Everything else is progress, even if it feels like a setback in the moment. And yes, I know, it's easier said than done. Failure hurts. It bruises the ego. But every time you choose to focus on the lesson instead of the loss, you make yourself more resilient, more capable, and more ready for the next challenge. Second, build your own experiments. Think about how Musk operates. Almost everything he does is treated like an experiment. Launch a rocket, test a battery, build a prototype. If it works, great, scale it. If it fails, tweak it and try again. That's why he moves faster than traditional industries, because he's not waiting for perfection. He's running experiments constantly. And you can do the same in your own life. Want to start a business? Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. Run a small experiment. Test your idea with 5 customers, or build a simple version of your product. Want to switch careers? Don't quit your job tomorrow. Run an experiment by taking an online course, shadowing someone in that field, or freelancing on the side. The beauty of experiments is that they lower the pressure, because if it's an experiment, you're not expected to nail it on the first try. You're expected to learn. And when you adopt that mindset, suddenly failure isn't a disaster. It's just data. Third, create your own culture of resilience. We talked earlier about Musk building teams that aren't afraid of failure. But you can do this even if you're not leading a company. Your team is whoever influences you. Friends, family, colleagues, mentors. If you want to live by fail fast, learn faster, surround yourself with people who get it. People who won't judge you when you stumble. People who cheer for your attempts, not just your wins. And here's something practical you can do. Find an accountability partner. Someone who's also chasing growth, who's also willing to take risks, and agree to share not just your wins, but your failures. When you tell someone, hey, I tried this and it bombed, and instead of laughing, they say, that's awesome, what did you learn? You rewire how you see failure. It becomes something worth sharing, not something to hide. Finally, remind yourself of this simple truth. Failure is temporary, but regret is permanent. Think about it. A failed attempt might sting for a week, a month, maybe even a year. But regret, the thought of what if I had tried, that can last a lifetime. Musk could have played it safe after PayPal. He could have retired young and lived comfortably, but he chose to risk it all, to fail in public, to take the hits. And now, whether you love him or not, you can't deny his impact on the world. And the same goes for you. The risks you take today, the failures you're willing to embrace, could become the very things that define your success tomorrow. So let's tie it all together. Musk's mindset teaches us that failure isn't a dead end, it's a stepping stone. The faster you fail, the faster you learn and grow. Criticism is data. Risk is opportunity. And resilience isn't built in comfort. It's built in the comeback. Now imagine if you lived like that. Imagine if instead of fearing failure, you welcomed it. Imagine if instead of waiting for the perfect moment, you just started experimenting. Imagine the person you could become in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. Here's my encouragement to you. Take one bold step this week. Just one. Try something you've been putting off because you were afraid it might not work. And when it doesn't go perfectly, because it probably won't, don't label it as failure. Label it as feedback, then adjust and try again. That's how you fail fast. That's how you learn faster. And that's how you grow into the person you were meant to be. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What's one failure in your life that actually turned into a valuable lesson? Share it in the comments. I promise your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear it. And if this video gave you something to think about, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who might need a little push to see failure differently. Remember, success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about using failure as fuel. And the faster you embrace that, the faster you'll build the life you're dreaming of. So go out there, fail fast, learn faster, and keep moving forward.